Alright, today I'm going to show you some pixel art animations that I have been working on, and I'll also teach you how to make them if you are interested in doing them yourself. What do you mean, error message?
What's this now?
Out of memory.
That's some bad news.
Huh? There's nothing but fuck-ups and errors to fix all the time.
What did we learn? I don't know. I'm trying to find out.
Hello there. It's Editing Shiz here. I just edited my entire video and realized that I did not point out that all of the tools that I used to make these animations are free. The tools I used were DaVinci Resolve, which is a video editor, Krita, which is basically a fancy Microsoft Paint, Pixel Projection takes images and makes them into pixel art, and then ChatGPT I used to colorize my images. Hold off on your hate for a few moments until I discuss in a little bit my explanation of doing so. And if you didn't already know, I am trying to make my own video game, and I don't really know what I'm doing. But I do think I figured out a pretty compelling visual look for cinematics, not the actual gameplay of the game, but telling a story using a cool, visually cool, pixel arty kind of thing. I have no idea if anybody's going to get anything out of this video, but hey, if one person gets something out of it, then I guess it's worth making. So without further ado, enjoy.
My guest, Cynthia Dangus, is registered by the United States Department of Beauty for a beauty expert.
Alright, so we start this with a sketch. Technically this is optional, but here's my little sketch I did of a robot and a monk training in a wasteland, and this is what I want to animate. And we're going to get kind of controversial right off the bat. I want to convert this into some kind of colorful pixel art. I'm going to use a free online algorithmic tool, and I'm also going to use AI. I'm going to use ChatGPT to colorize this image. Yeah, and all you fucking haters in the comments, oh, you use fucking AI, bullshit AI. Yeah, look at all this bullshit I'm having to do, so I'm just saying. Just quit your hating for 2 seconds. Does that make this AI slop? I'm pretty anti-AI artwork presented in and of itself to be artwork, but using AI to colorize this image, I mean, I could colorize it myself, but to do it well would take a really long time, and it's not a particularly creative process. So using AI to do this saves me time. It lets me do more of these faster, and it's still my artwork. I'm just letting an AI colorize it. I'm guaranteeing there's still gonna be fucking haters in the fucking comments hating. Do all this shit. You know, I'm not sure what acceptable use of AI is in creative works, but to me this seems okay. So what I'm gonna do is upload my sketch, as well as a couple images. Again, I base my sketch off these images. So the idea of, like, even when you're doing creative endeavors, you're kind of stealing the work of others and creative influences anyway. So using an AI to colorize an image doesn't seem like a big deal. By the way, also, if you're not a good sketcher, you can just use AI to create the image in the first place. I don't care. I think it's fine. Trust me, you got your work fucking cut out for you later on. So you're really just saving a little bit of mindless tedium by doing this first part. So I'm gonna upload these 3. Alright, so I fed it those 3 images, my sketch, and then the 2 reference kind of images of a color palette, which I kind of based my sketch off anyway. And I told it to basically colorize the sketch, use the 2 images as a color palette, and I described the image as well. It's a monk and a robot training in a desert wasteland. And it should not be photorealistic. So let's see what it gives me. Riveting stuff. It's like the monk and the robot are actually a little bigger than my sketch. I mean, that looks pretty good. The only thing it did is it's got the monk and the robot facing each other like they're fighting. I don't want them to be facing each other. I kind of also want them to be a little bit further and smaller. So let's see if we can tweak it. This is the part of AI. I mean, everything else looks great. The background's cool. I could probably fix this myself with the Pixelart, but let's see if we can get it to fix it. Alright, so I'm going to say, could you create me the same image but have the monk and robot be faced in the same direction? Could you also place them further away from the camera so they're smaller, more distant in the image? And actually, I like that the monk doesn't have the hat, because when I originally drew this sketch, I drew the monk with a hat and he's kind of wearing a different outfit. He's kind of wearing the same outfit as he was in my other sketches now. See, it's doing a better job than I was. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Like I said, even if you didn't have a sketch, you could just tinker with this for a bit. You know, hopefully not too many gallons of water being wasted here. Alright, well, monk robot, further from the camera, facing the same direction. This is acceptable. I like it. Alright, so we're going to download this. Then we're going to go to pixelprotection.com, which is another just giant time saver. It turns digital images into pixel arts, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. There it is. And alright, so number of colors, we don't want that many colors. So let's limit this to, I bet we can limit it to, oh shit, let's move my camera back. Okay, I bet we could limit it to, we'll try 16. This one is a very simple palette, so we might actually be able to do fewer. Fewer colors the better for pixel art, in my opinion. It just makes it cleaner and crisper. So pixelization factor, I usually do 2. Which means smaller pixels. Like I said, this is going to be a pretty big, you know, 1080p kind of image. So that I don't mess. Wait, it says controls how many grid corners to move. Recommended 1. So we'll do the recommended amount, I guess. 1. Color flattening strength. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Again, if we don't like how this turns out, we can just try it again. So it has some customization features. And then this thing, I don't know how it does it, but you know, it starts pixelating and determining how to best convert this into a pixelated image rather than just kind of shrinking it or something. That's looking pretty cool. It's looking pretty cool. It's looking pretty cool, man. I like it. I'm liking it. I think it's gonna be good. Let's go ahead and download this guy. We want to make sure we download it as the minimal size.
What this computer does is scientifically determine whether you are handsome or ugly.
Now we come over here to our friend Krita. Okay, so now what we need to do is separate out layers. Currently we only have one layer, which is the entire image. How many layers are we going to do? I think we will do one layer for the sky, one for the mountains, one for this desert plain, this flat area, and then one for our monks and one for our foreground tree. So how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. And the monk and the robot will probably be a separate layer. So it'll probably be like 6 layers total. You know what would be really fucking cool? But it would take more time. A lot more time. Twice as much time. But it'd be really cool if this transitioned from day to night to give a little passage time effect. Let's see how ChatGPT does that. Alright, so hold on. I like that idea. Give me more work. See, this is what I'm talking about. Don't be bitching at me about using AI. I'm doing a lot of work here. Could I get the same image but with moonlight? So yeah, in DaVinci Resolve we could do a dissolve from one to the other. Oh man, that's gonna be fucking epic looking. I'm already kinda stoked. These monks are looking big. You come on, ChatGPT. I told you it's the exact same fucking image just with moonlight. Okay, hey, good job. Oh, now they're facing the camera. All right, hey. That's fucking cool. Oh, me likey, me likey, me likey. All right, that's. So then, am I going to need to animate the sun actually going down? Yeah, I might animate the sun going down and the moon coming out. Same. This one might not even need 16 colors for a color palette. Oh my god, that's so fucking cool looking. It's more work, but man, it's gonna look cool, I think. Oh, the fucking mountains are slightly shifted, ChatGPT. What the fuck do you do that for? It's okay. I think. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna matter too much. I don't think it's gonna be too noticeable because the camera's gonna be moving anyway. It's just hilarious that it put it everything slightly different location. So how am I going to separate this out? There is a tool over here that says, not that one, polygon selection tool. That's our friend. All right, I just learned something new just now. When you do this polygon selection tool for Pixelart, you want to, where it says mode here, I'm changing this to pixel selection, and then I'm going to check anti-aliasing off. That way it grabs pixels and it doesn't create a blurry edge. I don't want blurry edges. This is Pixelart. We don't need no blurry nothing. I wish I'd done this with my other two animations. There are a couple blurry edges here or there that I missed. So it's going to work better. Cool. Alright, so we want to actually start with the layer in the most foreground layer, and so we will start with the thing closest to the camera and we will end with the thing furthest from the camera. So the thing closest to the camera is our tree friend here. So we're going to highlight this tree using the polygon select tool. This doesn't have to be completely perfect, but try to get it as close to you can. It's kind of tough to tell where the tree starts and where the dirt starts, but we're going to say that's tree. And then for these diagonals, you can actually cut across. It should grab them properly. And this is why I'm saying that even with using that shortcut of using the AI to colorize our image, we still have a holy ton of work to do. Yep, this takes a hot minute. And we're just getting started. Now I feel like Bob Ross, where I am just talking to myself as I do something very boring and mindless. I think Bob Ross is a little bit cooler and friendlier than I look.
But I wanna get you to try being creative on canvas. Just to take your time and sit down, have nothing in mind when you start. Just have a good feeling and be happy and in love with life and your world, and sit down and begin playing. And if you feel good about yourself and the world, it'll show in your painting.
Oh my god, there's so many fucking branches on this thing. Why did I draw such a fucking convoluted tree?
That's the name of the game. It's enjoying. You really ought to enjoy what you do in life. If you do, then you'll do a good job. And I certainly enjoy what I'm doing. I spend half my life doing somebody else's thing. Painting should make you happy.
Alright, so we're going to cut this layer. And so now, boom, it's gone. Cool. And then I'm just going to paste it. And when I paste it, it's going to be its own layer. So now I can turn it on and off whenever I want. And let's go ahead and clean up the edges that we f***ed up on. So we're going to cut this out, and we are going to repaste it, and then let's go ahead and merge that back with the background layer. So we want to click here on merge. I think it's blocked by my face. I'm gonna go merge with layer below. That's a useful tool in this, and that just recombines it. So now that little guy is back on, and then we'll fix that branch so that it's out of there. Let's look at the edges, and we are just going to erase anything that looks like it's not tree. So we're going to use our little pixel. There's all kinds of different ones, but we're just going to use the little pixel pin and check to know the erase, and we'll go size 1, and now we can come in like that. Doesn't. Nope. We're just going to erase all these little guys. Those don't look like tree branches to me.
If you happen to get some of it down in here, who cares? We'll end up turning that into reflections. We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. Just don't worry about it. Learn how to use what happens.
Oh my god, that's a nice looking pixel tree. Beautiful stuff. Love it. Looks pretty cool. Alright, so now you can see though, we need to look, okay, so we're gonna have these layers sliding around, and so we need shit behind this tree, and so actually I need to fill in this image, and that's going to be kind of challenging with these cracks into making it look good. So again, you could have the AI kind of do that for you, but you know, just so that you know, we got to shake those fucking AI haters off. We're going to do this ourselves. Let's do just like, I don't know, this color, that color already that blends in pretty well. I mean, you can still see there's an outline of a tree, so we just need to fill in some of these color gradients. Boop, 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 oh. What the fuck? So there's this thing called a threshold. So if it goes all the way and you try to dye something, it's just going to blank out your entire image. And if you go all the way to 1, then it's only picking that pixel, which is actually kind of what I want right now. So we're going to tell that to 1. And then that looks reasonably good, but we're going to take some of this. We're just going to kind of now this is very Bob Rossy. We're just going to kind of feel that.
Just a little though. Don't overdo. Don't overdo. It gets working and it feels good, and next thing you know, you've overdone it. Painting should make you happy. It does nothing else. It should make you happy. And if it doesn't make you happy, you're doing the wrong thing. Because it's fun. And if you can do things all of your life that make you happy, needless to say, you're going to be a happy person. And you know, when you buy your first tube of paint, you get an artist license. And that license says you can do anything that makes you happy. Now, shoot, you know me. I think everybody needs a friend, so we're going to give him one right here. Some nice, bright colors. It's a fantastic day. It's a good day to be alive. Come to think of it, every day's a good day to be alive. There. We were kids, we used to fight like cats and dogs. You know how brothers are. And I never expected that left hand to get me. Boy, he used to sock me. Now he grew up and he's bigger than I am, so I hope he doesn't remember all that. There we go. He's a good man, though. He's my best friend in the whole world. I spent half my life in the military, and there I had to live in somebody else's world all the time. And painting offered me freedom. I'd come home after all day of playing soldier, and I'd paint a picture, and I could paint the kind of world that I wanted. It was clean, it was sparkling, shiny, beautiful, no pollution, nobody upset. Everybody was happy in this world. That may be how I made it through 20 years of military. There we go. Because I could find freedom on this canvas. There we go. Absolute freedom here. And I think we're all looking for freedom. At least I am. And make just layer after layer of them. But do the one that's farthest away first and work forward. Always working forward. So if you see little creatures around your house, help take care of them. Because they're God's little creatures. And they're fantastic. Get to know them. Make friends with them. This one was loaned to me by the bird lady here in Muncie where I film. And he's a loner bird. Okay, now we can wash the old brush. And if you've painted with me before, you know this is the fun part of this whole technique. We wash our brushes with odorless thinner, shake them off, and just beat the devil out of them. And that's where you take all your hostilities and frustrations, and it's a lot of fun. There we go. Just have to splash the cameraman one time so he doesn't feel neglected. Shoot. Take life easy. Just let it go. Once again, that's just my opinion. They're very, I don't want to say real unpleasant, but they bother me if they don't have a lot of depth in them. Because our world, the way I see it, has a lot of depth. And that's the way I like to see paintings. Maybe there lives a happy little bush right along here.
All right, so we're finally done. It looks like we've accomplished absolutely nothing, but what we've accomplished is we've taken our pixel art image, and now we have a sky layer, a mountain layer, whatever you want to call this, the plains layer. We got our monk isolated, our robot isolated, and our tree isolated. So later on in DaVinci Resolve now, I can use those isolated layers to create a scene.
I place these on...
Ooh, oh, my skin's kind
okay,
of oily.
yeah.
I had too many potato chips for lunch.
I want to have these little guys. So my imagination for this scene is that we're going to have, you know, a moving camera and all this cool kind of layering effects going on. But I want our monk and our robot to kind of transition from one pose to another, and then I want the scene to transition to night in another pose, and then so like so like 2 poses for day and 2 poses for night. So let's figure out how we're gonna do that. So I think first off, I just need to look at some Tai Chi poses. So yeah, maybe something like that. So this, and then they're gonna turn, and their arms are gonna come out. So they're gonna kind of come out like this, maybe. I think in some sense it would be cool if the monk was breathing and the robot maybe wasn't. He's gonna rise up and kind of straighten out, so his torso needs to rise, and then his legs need to straighten, and his torso is gonna be above this, so we need to move his torso basically up and to the left. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a copy of this layer. I'm gonna say duplicate layer, and then alright, now we got him, our copy layer, and so our whole body, we need homeboy to kind of end up here somewhere, and his little robo booty, we can bring it along too. You might be thinking this is going to be a really big jump for pixel art. I agree. I'm not actually, later on in DaVinci Resolve, I'm going to actually kind of fade it to this, so it's not going to be like a instant transition. It'll be like should be this cool, like the phasing from one thing to the other. And then our monk is going to also phase, but he'll be breathing as well, so there'll be a more complex animation for him. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. We can maybe, did we move it a little bit too much? So his leg, is it still going to be planted in the same spot, just upright? We might need him, no, I think he needs to go up further. Leg's gonna straighten out maybe like to there. Okay, so now this leg is going to be straightened out, or we can kind of we can just rotate it, that way it maintains some pixel consistency. There it is. So we're going to rotate his leg this way, and then we can kind of refill it. The whole aliasing that it does is kind of nonsense, but so it would be naturally, it would be about right there. Be the natural state of it. So I just wanted to do that just kind of for a reference of like where his body actually should be. So let's bring it back down, just so it should be about right there, if that is indeed sort of where his butt leg is going. So now let's color him in. Anytime I make a video, the dogs insist on inserting themselves. They do this stupid thing where they howl like coyotes. I'm gonna go get a video of it. Kinda working on something right now. And then this other leg is going to, you need to come over and kind of rotate around his wheel. So let's go ahead and grab him. We can probably connect it down just a little bit, rotate it a little bit maybe, so that it's a little bit more straight down. So it would need to be about like right, yeah, ooh yeah, that's it right there, kind of like right there, something like that, sort of about like there. Okay, that's not too much of a stretch. I think that looks reasonably proportional. So now, alright, now we have the tough job of filling in all this distorted nonsense that we created.
We've been doing this show now for well over 11 years. 11 years. And you've made me feel very special to invite me into your home and to let me be part of your family. Thank you very much.
Zooming in on a pixelated robot's butt, not something I thought I'd be doing in my life, but you know, here we are. Gotta have some butt cheeks. Little robo butt cheeks. Oh no. Oh, I don't like this. It's asymmetrical too. I guess it is what it is, because his butt was kind of faced, and it should be more symmetrical now. So do we need to, yeah, let's move this out. Symmetrical butt. And then his arms kind of need to be, this one needs to sort of be out as well. So they're both out. And maybe a little bit more like this instead of this. And then his head can be facing away. Oh, I forgot. On the first guy, our robot has a blue face, I guess. So this would be his eyes. When he rotates his head, we won't see his eye anymore, and so that'll kind of give us an indicator that his head has rotated.
On this canvas, you're the creator. Anything that you want, you can build here. This is your world. Your dreams come real here.
It's a little bit like he's he's got a little turned into an octopus. I don't like this at all.
You know, just recently I was doing a demonstration in a mall, and I had a man come to me and he said, "Bob, I can never paint because I'm colorblind. All I can see is gray tones." So I thought today we'd do a picture in gray just to show you that anyone can paint.
And then, yeah, he's gonna basically come up like this, and then it's gonna transition to night, and then he's gonna basically be a mirror image of this. He's gonna be facing the other way, and then I guess he can stand up again. Mirror image. I'm gonna do this as lazily as possible. Let's do the same thing for our monk. Man, he's gonna be harder because he's got twists on his little jacket. All right, little guy, let's go, monk.
Well, to be honest, I'm a nature freak. I love to walk through the woods and talk to the animals. Don't tell anybody that. I even talk to trees at times. But you need to understand nature to appreciate the great, great things that have been created. We spend so much of our life walking around looking with never seeing. And if painting teaches you nothing else, it'll teach you to see nature, to appreciate some of the beauty that's around us every day that we take for granted.
So that's gonna be cool, but we want the monk to be breathing. We'll do it in 3 parts. So this will be our base. Part 1 is just going to be raising the chest up 1 pixel. We should duplicate it 1 pixel up. And so all what's going to happen is that, basically. If you wanted, you could leave it at that. I kind of like to do one more, which is, you know, when you're breathing in, yeah, your chest goes up, but then also your ribcage kind of spreads a little bit. And so I kind of like to do that as well. It might look a little bit funky from this angle, but here. Once again, let's duplicate our layer before we do that. And so now our monk breathes up, and now he also kind of shifts a little bit that way.
I think sometimes we work too hard at painting. Painting should always be fun. It should make you happy. That's when you're truly an artist.
Pretty cool.
If I end up being handsome.
Oh! Oh.
And because I want to make it hard on myself, I want to transition this same scene to nighttime. So we have our original files here. I'm going to save this to, I don't know, just 2.2. Okay. Alright, so now that original file's left alone, and now I can modify this one to be our nighttime one. I want our robot and monk to be mirror imaged. So let's go ahead. In other words, instead of facing to the left, I want them to face to the right. Nope. Alright, let's move him over and back to where he was supposed to be before. So somewhere like maybe right there.
Now, when we do these paintings, we have a general idea of what we're going to do, but other than that, they're really not planned. We learn to work with what happens. And when you're at home, don't worry about following exactly what we have here. Let things happen and use what happens and create your own masterpieces. Don't just try to copy what we're doing. And you can do it.
There's something called a similar color tool, which I was kind of planning on doing. So that'll kind of select every color within a single layer that is a similar color, and then you can actually replace that color with another color. But to do that for each of these layers, it's gonna be a bitch. And I do have the you know, I did have this image that I could work with, but things don't quite line up. It's a slightly different image. Plus, I would have to re-highlight all the layers and reanimate and all that shit. So, there's got to be a way. Oh, red, green, blue. Shadow. Okay, so we want... Oh, shit. So, we want more greens and reds. Or blues. Okay. Ooh, okay, this is kind of coming. We basically did the opposite. I was looking at the left side, not the right. So if we add more greens and blues. Alright, it's kind of getting there. And I could kind of like pre-program it all. Max out blue. It's actually not too bad. I don't really like that. I think it should be actually kind of... Okay, that's better. That's looking pretty nice. Ooh, this is looking more nice. Alright, that's looking... Alright, so is this our... Oh, Jesus, can I... No. And it's HSV adjustment. Ooh, this could be good. That's not bad. That's actually kind of promising. Figuring things out in real time. Probably not the best video. So yeah, I don't know what the f I'm doing. I've never done this before. And I think the one that actually looked the best was the color adjustment. And then I think I can kind of tone down. That one's not bad. The little the HSV one. Levels? What does that do? Okay, so I can darken it very easily. Alright, so let's try a combination. And then hopefully I can save the preset, and then I can quickly do it to each level so that everything gets adjusted the same. And we basically have the same image, just recolorized and kind of darkened. Alright, so we're going to go color balance first. And basically I think we wanted this all the way down, this in the middle, and this all the way up. That was kind of what we had done. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we've gone from red to blue. And then I think if I just kind of darken that, I think it would look pretty good. If I just hit OK, rather than create filter mask. I just wish I could save this as a, so I don't have to do the little sliders each time. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it would just be nice if I could like, kind of almost like save it as a, current configuration. Okay, maybe that's how. And then with that, okay, that'll be there. All right, that's kind of cool. All right, so we're gonna hit OK. Okay, now it's actually changed, and now let's see if we can do the levels. Okay, and then I think if I do it, yeah, I know we can darken it. So let's think of a really nice, easy number to do. I don't know if I want to go that dark. So maybe like a point, like 0.8. That to that, yeah, that looks better. All right, so we'll say 0.8. 0.8. Okay, and then let's see what happens if I do every other thing the same way. Will this look like a big pile of shit? It's gonna be very blue. It's gonna be very blue. That's kind of why I was like, I kind of wanted to desaturate it maybe slightly. Saturation. Oh, maybe this is how I can do it. Just a little bit more gray rather than blue. And then shit. Okay, so now we hit 3. Alright, I need to write this down. This, I think, I kind of like that. And then all I need to do is draw the moon, which should be easy. 0.8. The first one was like, you know, -100, 0, 100. But I think I saved that one. And then this one, maybe -40, -30. Oh, gee, god damn it. You don't hit enter. And like -30? Oh, I think that's pretty nice and kind of grayish. Dark, bluish, grayish. Looks like nighttime to me. Edit preset. Bookmark current, close, and then we can say okay. Let's do the mountains and see what these mountains look like if I do the same thing.
create some little highlights. These are just like doing small mountains. And with tender loving care, they'll grow up and be almighty mountains.
Eventually I'm going to write my own music for this game. And, you know, writing music, I also do, you know, obviously, if you pay attention to my channel, I write essays about philosophical topics. And yeah, kind of constructing musical piece, or constructing an essay, or constructing something like this, a piece of art that's, you know, all kind of fit together. It's a really cool challenge to try to see the vision ahead of time of what you want to do, but then as you kind of are working on on recognizing that vision, you kind of learn as you go, and that vision sort of develops even further. It's one of my favorite mental exercises to try to wrap my head around all of that and have it come to fruition in the end. I don't know if that made any sense.
There we go. Just let these big old clouds just float around in the sky and have fun. Clouds are about the freest thing in nature.
Oh, does that look like nighttime? Looks like nighttime. All right, now let's add a moon. It's definitely more grayish compared to, so maybe I can desaturate the ground layer a little bit more. It does look maybe a little bit better, doesn't it? So what if we take that to -30 and let's desaturate the mountains a little bit even more as well, like -20. Yeah, just so the sky is a little bit more bluish, and then there's a little more grayish, and then our characters are a little bit more bluish as well, so they stand out a little bit more. One monkbot with his blue eyeball, that should still be very blue. I like that. Yeah. Cool. So now let's grab the moon from this one, copy it in. This is our AI generated moon. And the palette's not going to match, but we can make it kind of match. Actually, it's not too far off. That's actually very close, so.
Study nature. I really have some hang-ups about nature being destroyed. I would like to see nature remain the way it is. I would like for my son, his grandchildren maybe, when he goes back to Alaska, to be able to see a real moose, not just pictures of one. So appreciate what we have.
I think that looks pretty good. What would Bob Ross think? I think Bob Ross would be, yeah, would Bob Ross do Pixelart? I think he'd be a fan. I think he'd be a fan of, he'd be very supportive and encouraging of all of our endeavors. That was a lot, so now it's time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to do before we do DaVinci Resolve. I don't think so, but I am going to take a break.
Xanthia Douglas, what can a man like me do to help my ugliness?
There's only one thing you can do, and that's to have a makeover.
Now is the time for us to manually export each one of these layers from each of our little Krita files as PNGs with transparent backgrounds. I might do a couple folders just, so this will be light, and we'll do the other one at nighttime, day, night, whatever. So we'll save those in there, and we're gonna go PNG, and we're gonna hit OK. And we're gonna do our mountains. I need some hotkeys here. Oh, yeah, I should probably mountain. You get the idea. All right, so now you can see we got all of these, and each one of these is should be on a transparent background. If we open it up, transparent background should, yep, be like that. Cool. And now we're gonna do the same thing, but with this one. So then we got our light and our dark. Let's create our scene. So let's go over to DaVinci Resolve. All right, so if you've never used DaVinci Resolve before, it's for video editing, but I've found that you can make kind of cool composite images and animations with it as well, and it works well. I know a lot of people use what's it called, like Ace Sprite or something. I never used that before, but I use DaVinci Resolve you're watching me do, obviously I edit a lot of videos, so I was like, oh, I wonder if I could use it for pixel art. Turns out it's pretty cool. The one thing you do need to do is, before you start, project settings, image scaling. Our images are tiny little pixel art images, and it's going to try to make them bigger into 1080p, and it's going to distort them, and we want them to not be distorted, so we want to go to resize filter, custom, and we just want to do nearest neighbor. That just means that the pixel art will just be stretched bigger, but it will still look like pixel art. If you don't do that, it's not going to look good. That's the only thing that really you need to change. All right, now let's start with our day time. All right, cool. Let's import all these. And let's go ahead and layer them. We want our base layer to be the sky. And so you can just drag them from this media pool into the slot here. I think I'm going to do about a 20-second clip, something in that ballpark. So, but the first 10 seconds will be day, and then the last 10 seconds will be night. So we will do an 11-second clip, because in theory we'll have 11 seconds of light, 11 seconds of dark with a 2-second transition, which should, I believe, work out to be 20-second long total clip, I think. You can kind of see that our image isn't actually the same scale as 1080p, so we'll have to kind of zoom in, and I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, not. All right, so now I can drag on the mountains, and there you go. If you drag up, you should be able to go to a video slot too, and I'm going to kind of do this so that we can see what's going on here. All right, so our mountains now are on top of our sky, and up here in the top right corner we can see this is our video transform tool. I can slide one of these around on the other one to create a cool effect, like a moving camera. But for now, we're just going to put it all in here. Let's get our desert, which will be on top of our mountains, and our tree. So we don't have any monks yet, but you can see that I don't want, when I make this actual animation, I do not want these corners. So I'm going to take all these, and I'm going to zoom in a bit here. I think 1.2 is about. So 1.2 is our minimum zoom. If we go under 1.2, then we're going to see the edges of things. So just keep that in mind. Now you can see if I move up and down, I can actually angle. I got some wiggle room on all sides, not much on the X. All right, so before we do all that, I guess let's create our animated monk. He's going to be in the lower position for about 5 seconds and the upper position for about 5 seconds. And we want to take monk 1 up, over there. I'm going to take robot above him. And monk, well, we'll figure this out. But the robot we want around for about 5 seconds. Remember, we have a breathing monk, so we need to make him breathe. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So to make him breathe, we need to do monk 1, monk 2, and monk 3. We're going to drag them all in a row. So you can see he's breathing. About how long to take a breath? He can be pretty slow breathing. I would think maybe these should be about maybe like 0.2. That's like 80% of a second, something like that. I want him to kind of be breathing slow. So you want this to go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 kind of pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the 2 over here. And then that is our full pattern. And we'll end it right there. See what that looks like. Looks good. So now that I'm satisfied with this, I'm going to highlight all of these guys, and we're going to go to clip. We're going to say new fusion clip, and so what that's going to do is turn our little segments of clips into one clip that we can manipulate and change. Alright, before we start creating a scene with camera motion and things like that, I'm going to complete this transition into their next pose.
And go out sometime in the woods and study trees. Talk to trees, whatever it takes. Tree needs to be your friend if you're going to paint him. Probably out in your yard you have some beautiful trees that you can look at.
Here we're going to do our first deployment of our red dot technology. I'm not sure what the actual name of it is, but down here on our video settings, there's something called composite. Composite and opacity. It's opaque, but opacity, I suppose, is the word. This controls how kind of faded. You can see that. We can do it with this one so we can see better. So we can see this fades in and out an object. And this little red dot controls how it behaves in the video. So for example, if I click this red dot, that sets that, okay, at this moment in time, we're at 100% opaque. And then if I find another spot here, like a second later, and I put it to 0, what it's going to do is transition in between. So here it's 100, here it's 0, and it automatically scales it in between those two, which means that he's going to take a second to fade out. And then we can do the opposite for this other clip. Pretty clever. So this is our monk that's upright, and we can set this to 0 here. And so now, wow, oh yeah, look at that. That's some high-end graphics right there. That's what I'm talking about. It really does create an illusion that the monk is moving from one pose to another. I mean, it's very simple, but your brain kind of fills it in. Let's go ahead and do that to the robot as well. You know, before I actually did, this is the first time I've done, I mean, I've done all kinds of fade ins and out, but I haven't really done a martial arts fade in and out. That's something I'm going to have to remember in terms of kind of setting up motion, like a smooth motion, like a punch and things like that. It could really look cool. Alright, so let's see what this whole clip looks like now. Breathing. Shifting. And then they would shift again into nighttime. Right now it's pretty boring, there's not a lot of motion, but that's something that DaVinci Resolve is amazing at. So let us start to play with things. The sky is going to move the most. I want the sun to have an illusion that the sun is setting. If the sky gets too high, then we obviously see this. So this is the reason I kind of colored a little bit underneath, so we had a little wiggle room. So it looks like right about there would be the highest the sky can be, which is 30. And the lowest it can be is about 100 or so, with us zoomed in this much. I think I also want the scene to zoom outward. So we're going to start way more zoomed in, and we're going to kind of zoom out. And also, the camera's going to move to the right, which means objects can move to the left. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to select all of our clips. I think I'm going to start this one way zoomed in, like 1.4. So I need to do a little bit of math here. So if it's going to, from 1.4 to 1.3 in 10 seconds, and I need to make it to 11 seconds, it would be 0.01 per second. So we actually want to start at 1.4, and at 11 seconds, I'm going to go to 1.29. So this layer is going to be zooming out like that. Now you can see it's the only layer zooming out, which we don't want. We want this to every single one. Unfortunately, you can't do this. You can't highlight each one. This little red dot thing you have to do individually, but I can do it for each one. 1.29. See, this is why we need to break out the calculations. Again, that using big round numbers in 10 seconds is always a good idea if you're doing this kind of stuff, so that you can figure it out. So this is going to be 5.5 seconds. So 5.5. 1.4 minus 0.55. 345. It's good. It's alright. I might be doing a really shitty job of explaining these numbers. The idea is, you know, 1.4 is more zoomed in than 1.29. I'm going to transition this to another clip at the 10 second mark. And so that clip's going to kind of take over at 1.3 and then trail down to 1.2. That's the nighttime clip. And so I did 1.29 here because we're going to have this second or two of fade out, and I want it to still be zooming out as it's fading, if that makes sense. All right, so now we have a nice zoom out action here. So still a little bit boring. Next we want it to move to our right, which is, this is backwards, so we want it to go this way. We could change the X, so this gives us a little slippy slidey here. But before we do that, we also really want the sky to look like it's fading. So let's go ahead and do our sky. So our sky can start at about 35. And we can end at about -150. Is that clipping on the top? No. No. So now that sky is really going to be kind of moving back behind those mountains, creating a very, oh man, now you can start to see that this is coming together pretty cool. So if we're going to move things to our right, the thing is about cameras is that when you move a camera left or right, things that are really far away don't really, the position of them don't change much, but things that are closer change more. And so that's going to be a bit tricky with this particular setup because our monks are pretty close, but they're also attached to this layer. The layer they're attached to is pretty big. It's this big desert plain. And so if I move this layer, you know, the whole layer, distance, and close all kind of move together. There is something called pitch and yaw, which is this. So we can do a little bit of this in DaVinci Resolve. Let's start with the sky. So we want them to move that. So we want it to move. So let's start it at -10, and we will end it at +10. So there's a little bit of a motion that way, but not much. And our mountain, we can start at 0, and let's end it at like 40. So let's just see, what does that look like? Little gap opens up. Bring the desert up just a smidge so that it fills that in. Our desert, we can start, so if we did the mountain at 40, so the sky we change by 20, -10 to 10, mountain by 40, the desert by maybe 60. Let's see what that looks like, 0 to 60. That looks pretty sick. And then our tree is going to move the most. It's very close, so let's do that like 120. Let's do something crazy. That's cool, that it. Oh yeah. Now it looks like our monks are gliding and moving. We don't want that. So we need them to move with the desert. So desert 0, 0. Right here it's 30, so we need this to be 24.5. We need it to end at 60. Our robot's not moving, but our monk is moving properly. Alright, let's see how cool this looks. Our tree's moving a little bit too much. A little bit too much. It's also moving the wrong direction. Everything else is moving. Shit. So yeah, that's, I think, the bigger problem. Go back to 0. Just reset it. Yeah. So we want it to start over here, basically. Okay. But we want it to end way over here somewhere. It's still moving way too fast. So I did decide to give it a little bit of a yaw, not very much. So, wish I could isolate this letter, but basically what yaw does as a kind of reminder is gives it a little bit of a tilt action. I could do this with my monks and my robot as well, but I actually don't think I really need to. It's pretty subtle. It just might give the basic illusion of a little bit of change. So the sun's setting, so obviously that's moving a lot, but then everything else, the tree, kind of moving away. I think that looks pretty cool. Technically, something else that happens with cameras, so when you zoom out, and if you have multiple layers, maybe I shouldn't drink beer on camera. When you zoom out in a camera, things that are closer have a greater amount of kind of zoom change than something that is far away. I think I kind of want to put that into this as well. So like our tree starts at 1.4, ends at 1.29. So we're going to start our tree a little bit closer so that as we zoom out, there's a more significant change in it. So we're going to change it to like 1.45. And then our desert, we're going to change to like 1.42. And that's probably not going to make a huge difference, but it will give it a little bit more realism. Okay, so is this good enough? Am I going to regret that? Anything here? Tree moves the most, the robots move a bit. Do we notice them kind of sliding on the ground? Not really, they look pretty good. What if I could make it get a little bit darker so that that kind of solidifies that the sun is sort of setting? I know there's some saturation things that you can kind of do here. Fusion, no color. I mean, we could fade it with black. So I was technically, if you fade something, if there's no other image to kind of replace it, then it should kind of give the appearance of darkness growing. So let's see how that looks. So let's say I start at 100 and I end up at 90. What if I end up at 80? I mean, the sky does get darker and then the mountain's 9. Alright, what does this look like? Does it look okay with just the sky getting darker? It's very subtly, slowly getting darker. Gives the appearance of sunset without me having to work too hard. Alright, we're going to leave it as is. So I'm actually going to render this and create a file out of it. I'm going to do the moon next. Kind of same idea. I need to write down a bunch of numbers here. Basically, I'm going to do everything in reverse with the exception of the zoom. The zoom is going to keep zooming out. So I need to write down all of the data. So when the moon one is going to start at 9 seconds. So this is going to be basically for the final 2 seconds of this 11-second clip, it's going to be fading out. And then for that first 2 seconds of the moon clip, it's going to be fading in. And so we need everything to be in the exact same place when it transitions from day to night. So the mountains need to be in the exact right position, in the exact right zoom. Same with the tree, same with everything. If I don't do that, then when it transitions, there's going to be a slight shift, and it's probably going to look kind of weird. And I don't want that. I want it to be just like continuous, like everything right down to the nitty-gritty details in the exact same space. So let's write down our key. We're at zoom. This is going to be our first number that I write down, and then X and Y. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty, so when you're ready to actually finalize your video in DaVinci Resolve, you hit this render thing on the far right, then you can set up some characteristics of that render, whatever, it's pretty simple. I like MP4, resolution 1080p, just wanted that. All right, let's see if that looks blurry or anything, or if it looks good. Open it up in VLC. Yeah, it looks like Pixelart. I think that's a winner. So let's do a new video, a new project. All right, let's load in our new videos.
All right. You know, while I'm doing that, one of the most interesting things that we see as we run across the country teaching this fantastic method is people continually say, I can't draw a straight line. I don't have the talent, Bob, to do what you're doing. That's baloney. Talent is a pursued interest. In other words, anything that you're willing to practice, you can do. And this is no exception.
And now we're going to do a new project. Rather than doing the PNG images now, we're going to import Monk Day, Monk Night, which are just videos. Oh, it's got audio, don't need the audio obviously, but we can add some music to it in a second. Something I think kind of synth-wavy would be good. We want this to start at 9 seconds on the dot. We want its opacity to start at 0. We want this one to start at 100 and end up at 0. The moment we've been waiting for. What does a 2-second, or well, we'll do it fast. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Turn around and show them what we've accomplished. It's just.
My hands on now?
Luna, you just demanding all the attention as we watch this. Okay, Luna, what do you think? I think that looks pretty sick. I don't think anybody's going to notice that tree not quite moving right. Before I sign off here, I would like to show you how I'm going to put text over mine to kind of create a narrative. And so I'm not sure what I wanted to write on this scene. Something about the robot being an empty vessel or something. So I'm just going to, let's just say that's what I'm doing. There is a website called Font Space. And we can go Pixel Fonts. And we can say it was an empty vessel, which is a kind of expression in Buddhism. And we want our writing to be, probably want it to be black at the beginning, and then as it goes to nighttime it goes to white, but you can choose your color. So we'll go black here. These are different fonts. I'm not crazy about any of these, but I mean, that one's fine if we're just doing some pixely kind of stuff. I think I like lowercase, uppercase. It was an empty vessel, ... And we can go ahead and look at that. Okay, so I can save it. We can load it in here. And we can overlay it on top of our day one here. So, you know, probably I would have it transition about the same time. See, it's too big. This is just an example, so we could probably take it at least half the size, yeah. And if you want that to kind of like, we'll have it fade in and out, just so that you can kind of see what that would look like. Use our composite opacity again. Let's have it fade in over a course of 3 seconds, and then fade out over a course of 3 seconds. And so now we're gonna have a nice, cool little text screen showing up here over our little montage. Probably put a decent amount of dialogue in here, kind of like so, and then you could do different colors like this. I would definitely use white for contrast. And so yeah, it's that is very, very easy way to put text, cool pixel art text onto your videos. to create a little narration. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty cool looking animation. You could do all kinds of things with Krita and DaVinci Resolve in terms of coming up with really creative, dynamic scenes using Pixelart. And if you can hand pixel, great. I mean, if you're one of those super talented hand pixel people and you can create your own pixel art out of nothing, that's awesome. If you're like me and you're not as good at that, you can take the shortcut of, you know, sketching out a scene, which, you know, I'm reasonably good at, and using ChatGPT to colorize it and pixel projection to pixelate it. And then you still got a lot of work to do, but that saves you a lot of time and makes it look better than probably I would have been able to make otherwise. So now I have 3 of these done. Another reason to kind of take these shortcuts is because I don't know how many, for this narration of this game, I haven't fully even developed my story yet, but I am thinking I will need 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know how many of these little animations are going to be kind of in between your gameplay. And so with that many in mind, having them look cool and then also saving some time so that I can actually develop a game. It's my strategy, and if you're a hater on ChatGPT, then hate away, but that's just what I'm doing. No, I think it's unique, I think it's creative. You know, I think my voice is shining through as an artist. Well, until next time, hopefully you learned something, and I'll probably have more to showcase in Unity for my next vlog. And if I get a few more of these done and I get a decent looking in-game experience and I can kind of design a quick little simple level, I'm hoping that maybe I can even put together something that looks kind of like a trailer. Alright, take it easy. Bye.